Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Level Up Lando, the show that takes you inside the struggles, the trials, the tribulations, and the occasional success that is the everyday challenge of my life as I pursue my never ending effort of trying to level up. I am your host, Landon Like a Plane, and I'm coming to you from Truscott Studios, aka my bedroom, right here in lovely Aspen, Colorado. Today is Friday, December 19th, 2025 at 11:39 a.m. and it is a somewhat cloudy, kind of grayish, dark blue day here in the middle of winter, and we have no snow. This is the worst start to a winter I've seen in the 10 years, now 11 years, that I've lived in Aspen. I mean, brutal start to the winter season, which is fine by me because I don't have a ski pass yet. And so at least I'm not sitting on my hands watching the snow just dump the best season I've ever had, and I can't go get it. So it's a little bit bittersweet for me, more sweet than bitter because I don't have a ski pass. So the fact that this is the worst winter I've ever seen is fine by me. With that, I'm going to go ahead and rant for just a minute and then I'll catch you up. It has been a minute. This is almost a month, I think, since the last time I did a podcast. And so I just want to talk about falling off and how you can be doing so good and like on an upward trajectory, and it doesn't take a whole lot to kind of derail that. And then suddenly you're in free fall trying to save it and turn it back into a positive situation. But let's talk about it. So, back in September, I had some kind of confrontation with the Aspen Times publisher. Her name's Sarah Gergis, and she decided that it wasn't worth publishing me in the paper anymore, which I objected to, namely because I wasn't writing for me. I was writing as a try to be a contribution to the town. And I felt like not only was she depriving me of my ability to communicate to the town, but she was depriving the town of my worldview and my insight to Aspen, which I consider to be an incredible place to live and call home. And a lot of people really like complaining about life here. And I was sort of a counter to that energy and thought I was making a difference. I was getting a lot of really great feedback from the community. So when that kind of happened, I noticed that's sort of, if I look back on the last 90 days, that moment in time is where I started to decline, losing the rhythm of writing regularly and losing the responsibility and accountability that I had for myself to try to deliver on the weekly basis with just the writing and making a contribution. Really took the wind out of my sails, and it really kind of disrupted the routine and the pattern that I was in. That was a good pattern and routine to be in. And with that disruption came a stifling of my effort. And that has been the challenging part. That's what I want to kind of drill down on as far as what the experience feels like when you're trying to make things happen, and then no matter what you do, from every angle, from no matter how you play the situation, you just get beat, and there's not a lot you can do about it. That's, you continue. I mean, obviously the only thing that you can do is continue to get back up. But over a long period of time, when you are getting like beaten down by life and the universe, each time you get back up, it gets a little bit harder. It reminds me of like falling when you're snowboarding or skateboarding. You can only take so many falls before you have to go kind of lay up and recover because your body just can't take the beating. And it's not that you can't try again. You can smash once and then while hurting, try to land that trick a second time and smash again. And then maybe have a third one in you, and if you're really tough, a fourth one. But by the time you get to the fifth time, you're done. Your body can't handle taking another hit if you fuck it up. And in those moments, you kind of have to retreat a bit, which for somebody who's so used to getting up when they fall and trying again, the idea of having to retreat is really disappointing. It's a very dissatisfying emotional experience that then leads to more difficulty trying to find the motivation. Now, if we're sticking with this analogy of smashing when you're trying to do a trick, if you've decided to retreat and you're laying in your bed and you're recovering and you've got ice on your elbow and your face and you're sore and swollen and take an ibuprofen to help reduce the pain, and then you're fantasizing about trying to go back out there and land the trick, it's harder to find that motivation. So with that, that's what it feels like, the falling off, especially because it's over time. And so that's been my experience is since September when I came back from my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. I've been struggling to make the magic happen, and that's something I'm really good at, manifesting my reality. And for whatever reason, it's been a struggle. So let me give you some concrete examples. Since October, I have been applying for a variety of different jobs working with the ski company. The main one that I wanted was a media content creation manager. And so I would have literally gotten to do what I do with Aspen Drone Company, my personal business, for the ski company. And the videos that I've seen them make are really good. They're pretty high quality videos. So it'd be cool to work alongside whoever was making those. And I didn't get that job. Then I applied for a job working in their retail department, and I actually got an interview for that. That was like 2 weeks ago, and they decided to hire somebody else. And then a bunch of the other jobs that I applied for, I didn't even get a chance to get an interview because by the time they got to my application, they had already hired somebody. So I've been applying for job after job after job after job with the expectation that I have both the experience and the qualifications to do any of these jobs that I'm applying for. Furthermore, a lot of them are beneath me. A lot of them I'm going to be earning way less money than I do as a drone pilot, and on top of that, they're the kind of menial work that a monkey could do. You're running a register. It's something that I've been doing for my whole life. And it's not very fulfilling, and it's an hourly wage that isn't even anywhere close to what I consider my own value to be. So in that way, it's a little bit tough to be rejected from these jobs because I'm not just qualified, I'm like overqualified. And so in that way, it's frustrating. And again, kind of compounds that already heavy feeling of the weight of the world on your shoulders, trying to make stuff happen in your life and not getting anywhere. And when that happens, the only thing that you can really do is surrender and allow for whatever is happening to be happening, despite you not liking it and despite you not wanting it to be the way that it is, which is what causes the suffering, is you wanting your reality to be different. But then if you accept it, even though it sucks, the suffering goes away. And so that has been my journey over the last 90 days, is constantly battling with trying to figure out how to allow for my reality to be what it is, while at the same time trying to change. And every day I wake up trying to make it different, and it's hard. It's hard, and not only is it hard, it's not working. And so I just have to kind of surrender to the flow and allow for it to be how it is. And on top of that, try to spin it in my mind so happening exactly how it's supposed to. And I can then take solace in that and even allow for it to fill me and make me happy, even though my reality is particularly difficult. And so that brings us to catching you up. So it's been a month. I think the last time I sat down and did one of these was when I went and tried to go see Trey Band, and I got in, and it was awesome. And so that's a level up. Yay, landed. Rolled the dice on that, and it worked out. And now I've been back in Aspen since then. Winter has come on. We've gotten a little bit of snow, but not nearly enough. And as I was just articulating, it's been a real struggle for me to get a job with a ski pass. So that is an issue. Now, trying to bring it full circle as far as why is there a struggle, and what is like, if you were to like distill it down to what's the problem? Well, the problem is the problem that it's always been the problem, which is money. And I know that I talk about money a lot on the show, and I know that it's a lot of, from the position of my like scarcity and lack of money, because that is the issue, right? Like, I'm lucky I paid my December rent. Today's the 19th. I've got till the 31st, and then I got to figure out January's rent. And right now, I don't have it. And so it's a concern. It's something I'm like, okay, great. I'm trying to figure out how to pay rent again. When, earlier this month, I got the second half of this payment that I needed to get from my client, and I kind of got paid in full for this project that I've been working on since September. And that was great to kind of reach the conclusion of that. And I now feel like I have a much better rapport with them as far as what we're going to be doing going forward. And I feel confident that they're happy with the quality of the work that I'm producing, which is a big concern because there's a part of me that still has imposter syndrome and is wondering if I'm able to justify charging as much money as I'm charging, because it's a lot, and that I'm delivering the kind of quality of product that is worth that money. And so now I feel a little bit more validated that I am, because I believe I am. But it's more. It doesn't matter if I think I am. It's my client that it's important that their opinion. So I feel like I got that validation from them, and like there's a bunch of different people who I'm working with that all kind of validated that. So that feels good, and it also lets me now continue to pursue getting a second client. So that is the main issue, is that I just don't have enough money coming in. And the heart of that problem is I don't have enough clients. And so now I'm working on trying to figure out how to get a second or third or fourth or fifth client and keep the money flowing. Because if I could pay my rent, none of this would really be too much of an issue. But the fact that I can't is where the concern and the worry comes in, and the self doubt, and the is this working kind of thought. And so I was just listening to Alex Hormozy, and he says, whenever you have doubt, do repetitions, because it's hard to doubt that you're not good at something you've done 1,000 times exactly the same way. And he's like, so when you have doubt, stack reps. And I was like, that's such great advice. He's a really good businessman as far as his mental outlook and being pragmatic and solving the bottleneck problems for your business. So right now I am the bottleneck. The lack of clients is the bottleneck, and at least I know how to target it. So um, yeah, that in that way it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle to get this far. It's always a struggle, it seems like, but I'm hoping one day it won't be. I'm hoping one day I'll get to a point where I have stability. So in that way, let's catch you up on all the things that have happened since Trey Band and coming back on Thanksgiving. So we had Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was awesome. My buddy Eric Donovan came up. I made a turkey and had a killer Thanksgiving dinner. And I went over to the Eagles Club and then gave a bunch of food to their dinner. Made 4 different dishes. Did Brussels sprouts, asparagus, mashed potatoes, and sweet potatoes. So that was cool to feel like I'm contributing back to a place that I love and take a lot away from. And so, what else? Then we got through Christmas. I mean, Thanksgiving. We're right upon Christmas, and yeah, November. That was the end of November, and then early December. Oh, so then in the beginning of December, I signed up for the gym, and so now I've got my rec center pass, Aspen Rec Center, which then allows me to have access to the steam room, the sauna, the pool, the weight room. There's a rock climbing wall and an ice skating rink. And so after a couple of days of going in and like just sort of working out the way that I do, I was trying to figure out what I want to do for my next 100-day goal. And I was thinking about doing 100 reps, because I've been doing 100 push-ups a day, and my physique is really starting to change. And so it's kind of cool to get the actual physical results of all this effort, doing 100 push-ups a day for almost 100 days. I'm not sure. I didn't really count it, but I did 100 days running, and I started doing 100 push-ups a day probably 20 days into that. So I've got around 80 days of doing 100 push-ups a day. And like I said, it really started showing in my physique, that effort. And so then I went up to the gym and I was working out thinking maybe my new 100-day goal would be 100 reps. of whatever, 25 push-ups, 25 bicep curls, squats, deadlifts, that kind of a thing. And ultimately, I decided that what my new 100-day goal is going to be is 100 days swimming. And so yesterday was day 9. Today will be day 10, which means I got 90 more to go. My gym pass is good till May 1st. And so while I'm struggling to get a ski pass, at least I have the gym pass and at least I can go up there and I've been going. So that's helping for me to build more repetition into my day and be able to create good, healthy habits. And that then has ripple knock on effects that, you know, continue to help me to make healthy choices. So in that way, there's a little while there where I wasn't like drinking, but I wasn't not drinking. And so in that way, I have not been drinking, which has been great. I love not drinking alcohol, like at any level. And like I said, recently I've been drinking it a little bit. And even that little bit, just it's a waste of money, which I don't have. And I don't particularly enjoy the high of alcohol. So kind of sober there. I've been mostly smoking weed at night, which is works great for me because I still love weed, but it doesn't. I can't get stoned in the middle of the day because I'm not productive. And so it's not that I'm not productive; it's that I'm more productive when I'm sober. So I stay sober all day, and then I'll get high like at the very end of my night when I finally turn on the TV and I'm just vegging out on the couch anyway. So feeling pretty good about that. Although I do have a vision of giving weed up for as long as I can um, at the new year and trying to go full sober and see. I've had this thought of, I wonder what would happen if I'm totally sober for a year and how that would affect both my business and my life. And I was like, I don't think I've been sober for a full year since I was 15 years old. So I've spent pretty much my entire adult life high. And in that way, at 43 years old, it kind of is, I start finding myself thinking, like, oh, I wonder what it would be like to be sober. Because that's the thing is that at 43 years old, I've now matured enough and grown enough as a person that I actually really enjoy my days when I am sober. So I think that it's worth putting in that effort just to try to break out of my comfort zone, do something that's sort of a challenge and difficult, and see if there aren't massive benefits to getting totally clean and sober and not smoking weed even at night and not drinking alcohol at all and not really doing anything else. And so uh, that has me just considering the idea. I think I'm going to give it a go here at the end of the year. And so I'm giving myself between now and the 31st to kind of continue to do whatever I want, which is actually not very much. It's interesting. I'm still not drinking alcohol and I smoke weed at night. So, yeah, to give up weed at night probably wouldn't be too hard. And then I'm trying to fill that board time, that downtime, the time that I'm often just getting stoned for the sake of getting stoned with positive habits. I'm trying to read. I've been playing the guitar a lot and I'm getting much better. I started learning how to play the song Stash by Fish, and I can play quite a bit of it, which it's a tough song, and I'm really proud of myself for learning how. That's a level up, Lando. Yay. And reading and exercise. So reading, music, and exercise. Those are three habits that I can kind of always fall back on as far as what can I do in this downtime to entertain myself and not seek escaping my reality by altering my consciousness. So we'll see. It's all just fun and games. There's nothing, I'm not too concerned about it. If I fail, that's okay. But I do see myself trying to get sober at the new year, and that'll probably last until the end of April, which is when I got tickets to go see Fish at the Sphere in Las Vegas. And that is a huge deal because those are really, really hard tickets to get. I went 2 years ago and got shut out 3 out of the 4 days and ended up paying $500 for one night. And when I got into the building, it was totally worth every cent. And I've been dying to get into the Sphere again ever since then. And I haven't gotten to go back. And so to have Fish, my favorite band and probably the best band to play that venue, playing it again and they're doing 3 different weekends. And I won in the lottery a 3-day pass on the floor, which is a little disappointing because I'd rather be up in the seats, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to move from the floor up into the seats. And so I to win that is just such a blessing, and I feel very fortunate that I was able to get it through the lottery because I won 3 nights, and I think it cost me $750 or $760 for all 3 nights. So we're looking at like $250 a night. And now the tickets on the secondary market are going for between $600 and $1,000 a night. So I wouldn't have been able to go if I didn't win, and I did, and it's the final weekend. So they're gonna be playing 6 shows before my 3, and it'll be cool to be there on the final night of the entire run, which is 9 shows. So that'll be cool. I'm sure they'll do something kind of fun to put it like an exclamation mark on the end of their second residency at the Sphere. So that's super exciting, and that's at the end of May. And so I've got between now and the end of May to save up money to afford the hotel and the trip out there. But the tickets are already bought and paid for. So that is something that I've got on the horizon that is pretty exciting and something I'm really looking forward to, but something I also have to work to save up for. So I'm really trying hard to get a job. I'm going to go into town a little later today. I applied to be a retail associate at Gorsuch, which is a super high end ski apparel shop. And so that could be a cool situation. I also applied to be like a tune tech and an event operations lead at Ski Company, but nothing's panned out. So just kind of trying to enjoy my days. I'm looking at maybe having to go back to work for another person, getting back into employment instead of working for myself. And every time I go into these shops, I'm like, I don't want to do this again. I really don't. And so I'm trying to enjoy the fact that I've got the time between now and the end of December to kind of wake up and take my day as I choose to take it, which is one of the major perks to working for yourself. Is I'll use my whole morning and then come back at 1:30 or 2 and get to work then and work from 2 to 8 at night and get a ton done on the back end of my day and still get to use the front end of my day and feel like I maximized it. So that's where it's at. It's been a struggle. It's been pretty hard. Let's take a quick look at the little green book of accountability and create a list of things that we have to do. And then we'll jump into the Daily Stoic and wrap it. So let's see. We're at 12:19. What do we got to do? I've got my taxes, which I've created a profit and loss statement, and I know my revenue. And so I'm pretty in shape for taxes. That was something that I had to do, and I did it. And so now I've got to try and talk to my accountant and figure out exactly how much my taxes will be. Let's see. I want to edit. I got the Ute and the bonus material for Doug. What else? We're going to go to the gym. And we're going to go to town. We're going to go to Gorsuch and follow up. And James Pierce, I saw. James Pierce is hiring. It's like a high-end jewelry store. So maybe go sell some super expensive jewelry. That could be kind of cool. What do we get? It's been a minute. All right, here we go. See, I did some of the stuff. Business plan, I got that. Budget, I got that. Profit and loss, I got that. We're crossing that off the list. Edit for Doug, did that. Oh, here we go. Let's see. We got to do drone. I got my drone back, which is a huge deal. Been fighting with DJI, but I ended up having to pay for it, and I did. So, drone, set up and fly. What else do I got to do here? I've got. Oh. Okay. Website, business license. Mm. Um, let's see. What else? What else? Logo and business cards. Two things I've had to do for so long is just update my logo and get some business cards, which I really should do. All right, that's a solid little list. So there we go. Now we're one of the things that I realized after I stopped writing for the newspaper is that I really do these podcasts for me. There was a time there when they were going out and the public was able to see that I was creating them, and I felt like somewhat embarrassed and somewhat like bashful about sharing so candidly. And once I stopped writing for the paper and that it wasn't going out to like mainstream public so that they might come and watch, I stopped. I just realized like I can't care. I can't care what other people think about how I do the show. I got to do the show for me because at the end of the day, it's what helps keep me on track. Like having this little green book of accountability, which is part of the episode, right? I do it at the end of every episode, and so in that way, the more I do the episodes, the more I stay accountable and on track. And that's the whole point of this. The whole point of me starting these was to just document the trajectory and the roller coaster ride of going from working for somebody else and wanting to start my own business to starting my own business to making it successful to making it stable, which is the step I'm currently on. So, with that, let's take a quick look at the Daily Stoic. This is the Daily Stoic 366 Meditations on Wisdom, Perseverance, and the Art of Living by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. And I guess the last time that I read from it was December 4th. So that's good. I did one somewhere in between here. Today's December 19th. Human scale. Think of the whole universe of matter and how small your share. Think about the expanse of time and how brief, almost momentary, the part marked for you. Think of the workings of fate and how infinitesimal your role. Marcus Aurelius Meditations 5.24. The amount of matter in the universe is immense, on the order of trillions of atoms. What percentage of that matter does one human body constitute? The Earth, as far as science tells us, is some 4.5 billion years old and shows no sign of ending soon. Our time on the Earth, on the other hand, will be what? Several decades? Maybe? Sometimes we need to have the facts and figures spelled out in front of us to fully realize the scale at which humans happen to exist in the big scheme of things. Consider this the next time you feel self important or like everything rises and falls on what you do next. It doesn't. You're just one person among many doing your best. That's all you need to do. And in that way, that's what it feels like as far as I'm just allowing for my days to unfold. I'm trying to get a job. It's not working. So, what am I doing in the meantime? I'm playing the guitar. I'm going to the gym. I'm making the most of my day. I'm not just sitting around moping and feeling sorry for myself, which is often one of my responses to when the universe isn't answering the call. And so now I've done that enough in my life that when you're in that place and things aren't going well, it's about taking action. You have to still continue to progress forward, and that only happens by moving and action. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish this podcast, and then I'm going to get up to the gym, and then I'm going to cruise into town and see if I can't get myself a job and try again today and still be happy and still enjoy the day and still get outside and still get exercise and still play the guitar and still eat healthy. And even though I'm running out of money and the rent is due and I don't have an income. I'm just trusting in the universe that it's going to work out, and ultimately trusting that a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, this moment of struggle and this moment of anxiety and doubt is not even going to register. It won't even be a blip. I probably won't even remember it, with the exception of the fact I made a podcast about it. So that's how unimportant and, infinitesimal this moment is, not just in my own lifetime, but in the grand scheme of the existence of the universe. So there you have it. With that, I hope you remember that you're only here for a short period of time, and that whatever is upsetting you, whatever grudges you're holding on to, and things from the past that still make you mad, none of that is worth holding on to, and to let it go. Allow for yourself to be present and in this moment, and not bring anything from the past to this moment, and not worry about anything in the future coming into this moment. Just be here present, because you're not here for that long. And so enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. It's an incredible experience getting to be a human, even though it's hard, even though every day is filled with suffering and heartache. It's not easy to be a human. It is worth it. And so I bless you on your path, and I wish you a wonderful day where you realize that the world doesn't rise and fall with you, and that sometimes when things aren't going well, you could just allow for that to be so. You don't have to like it, but you can allow for it. And so, with that, I'm your host, landing like a plane, and I'm taking off.